Number 16, compute and simplify the difference quotient f of x plus h minus f of x over h, where h cannot be 0. And the difference quotient will come back on literally day 1 of Calculus 1. So in a couple semesters, when you're all in calculus, you'll be studying more about the difference quotient and its role in calculus and finding slopes. But for now, we've been given f of x equals 8x minus 15. And I remember when learning about the difference quotient, I made this a lot harder than it had to be. So I'm going to take my pain and translate it, hopefully for you, so that you don't have to go through the same headache that I went through. So let's take it step by step. The difference quotient has really two main parts. It has the f of x plus h part, and it has the f of x part. All right, notice this f of x right here in the difference quotient is the f of x that we've been given, and you will always be given the f of x portion. It's our job to find the f of x plus h part. And all we need to do to find the f of x plus h is simply take what we were given. So we're finding f of x plus h. Take the given function, this 8x minus 15, and anywhere we see an x, we're taking out that x and putting in an x plus h. And so we'll have 8, we're taking out this x and putting in x plus h, and then minus 15. That doesn't change. All right, well, let's simplify this a little bit, and to do that, we'll distribute this 8 through the binomial, and so we'll end with 8x, and then 8 times positive h is plus 8h, and minus 15. All right, so we've now found f of x plus h. So f of x plus h equals 8x plus 8h minus 15. And now we have all of the components we need in order to calculate the difference quotient. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and let's move this up a little bit. So we have our f of x part. We've got this. We've got our f of x plus h. And h here on the denominator is simply a variable that we're going to plug in. All right, so let's take this step by step. We're going to set up this difference quotient here. So f of x plus h, well, we know that's now 8x plus 8h minus 15, and then minus, so we have to say minus f of x. Well, what is f of x? F of x is 8x minus 15. So minus 8x minus 15 all over h. And notice here, and let me go ahead and we'll label this. How about that? So this here is the f of x plus h part. This here is the f of x part. All right, this minus here is the minus in the difference quotient. And notice that I put the f of x part, this last part here, in parentheses. It's really important that you put whatever your f of x function is into the difference quotient with parentheses, because we have to distribute this negative sign through. And if you don't include those parentheses, you may make a sign error inadvertently when computing here. So let's go ahead and simplify what we have, and we're going to have 8x plus 8h minus 15, and now minus, when we distribute that, negative times positive 8x is minus 8x. Negative, when we distribute it, well, a negative times a negative is a positive, so plus 15 all over h. And if we simplify our numerator here, we can see that we have a positive 8x and a minus 8x. So if we combine like terms, positive 8x and minus 8x goes away. And again, combining like terms, we have a negative 15 and a positive 15. So those cancel each other out, don't they? And what that means is that we're left with 8h, that's the only term that's left in the numerator, all over the denominator h. And we can see that these two h's cancel, and so now we're left with just 8, and that is our final answer. In the difference quotient, if your h doesn't cancel in the denominator, you've done something wrong. The h in the denominator will always, always, always cancel. If it doesn't, you've done something wrong algebraically. So go back and double check. Make sure you've taken everything step by step, that you distributed this minus sign through, watch your signs, but the 8 in the denominator will always cancel, all right? And for number 16, our difference quotient for the function f of x equals 8x minus 15 is simply 8. All right, so there's number 16. Let's take a look at number 17.